Since the pilot dropped back in 2020, I have been a die-hard Smiling Friends fanboy, eagerly awaiting each new episode like I'm sure a lot of you were, until...
And I'm going to cut right to the chase. This is not a bit, this is not a joke. Michael and I are here to announce that Smiling Friends will be ending after Season 3 is done.
Yeah, so now with Smiling Friends' final 2 episodes just finished airing, I felt like it was the perfect time to look back at this series that meant so much to us, to remember the good times, look into how it evolved over the years, and reassess its short but sweet 27 episode run with a more critical eye by ranking every single episode of Smiling Friends. I'll say in advance, for how much I love this series, I definitely do not consider it perfect, and there are some beloved episodes here I will be going pretty hard on, as well as some less liked ones I actually think deserve to sit pretty high on the list. So without further ado, let's begin with a short history lesson of how Smiling Friends came to be. Smiling Friends is the child of Michael Cusack and Zach Hadel, or as you may know him, Psychopebbles. Both these guys established themselves as giants of the early online animation world, starting on Newgrounds long before Smiling Friends came to be. Zach, most well known for his catalogue of viral parody animations, the Hellbender series with Oni NG, and more contemporarily being a co-host on Oni Plays. Meanwhile, Michael grew his name via original animations on Newgrounds like the uber popular Damo and Darren series, actually leveraging it to launch his own TV career, working with Adult Swim to do that awesome Australian Rick and Morty short, and being the creator behind YOLO Crystal Fantasy, which actually started the same year as Smiling Friends pilot, going on for a whole 3 seasons. Maybe in part due to Michael's proven success with the network, once connecting with Zach, the two worked together to come up with the concept of, and quickly had a pilot greenlit for Smiling Friends with Adult Swim. The basic concept is that we primarily follow Pim and Charlie, who work for the titular Smiling Friends, whose function is to help any people or critters who are going through a tough time, each job only being completed when they can make their clients smile. It's an incredibly basic concept, but as we'll see, that's a big part of why this show works so well, as with a concept as broad as this, the show is free to tell practically any kind of story it wants. Because what really makes Smiling Friends special is the absolutely insane world in which it takes place, or at least that's how it would seem on the surface. Zach and Michael have gone on record saying what makes Smiling Friends funny to them is the juxtaposition of the kooky cartoon world being framed in the most mundane way possible.
Kind of the original fun of the show to us was, but just that joke of these blue and green characters sitting there, but they're breathing and their chests are kind of, they're just real. That's the joke. Like they blink and they have heart problems and they have ADD and they're like, these characters don't hit a wall and they flatten out. They have real, if you hit a character in the head with a hammer, they would have like a seizure. And so that was the joke to us, just like also animating the characters breathing.
And I have to agree, as we'll see, despite how unhinged it may seem on the surface, the show is at its absolute funniest when it's just a few characters sitting around having the most awkward, realistic conversations possible. Another standout from the show's early conceptualization is just how well the core cast plays off each other, primarily the chemistry between Pim and Charlie. They fit the classic cartoon duo mold of pessimist and optimist. Pim is a lovable ball of positivity, always raring to do whatever he can to brighten a client's day, whereas Charlie feels more like a slacker, bringing a more pragmatic, realist approach to their jobs, naturally nurturing conflict from which a lot of the show's comedy is drawn. Yet at the same time, as the series goes on, you really do feel the friendship solidify as something genuine. As while Smiling Friends' primary intention is unmistakably to just be funny, it can also take the time to build more emotionally resonant stories, because, you know, all the funny jokes in the world don't mean much if we don't care about the characters that are telling them.
Let's go out there and make people smile!
Oh my God, I did not think he was going to do that. That scared me. That actually scared me a little bit. Anyways, I'll see you later, man.
With all that set up out of the way, how did that pilot end up going? Will Zach and Michael's distinctive styles of humor mesh together? Will such an out there show held by 2 internet figures be able to capture a mainstream TV audience? Let's find out, with the Smiling Friends pilot later repurposed as the first episode of Season 1, Desmond's Big Day Out. This is to me a damn near perfect Smiling Friends episode. Going back to it today, it is super impressive how they managed to so seamlessly capture everything that makes Smiling Friends great in their very first go around. The very first joke we open on is one of the show's trademark realistic conversational gags, with Pim trying to show he's excited about to Charlie, capturing that very awkward experience we've all had at some point in our lives where you're trying to show someone something and they just do not care.
You missed it.
What?
Oh, just, the character did a spin. It was like a cool spin. It was the whole reason I was showing it to you, but yeah, it was just kind of cool.
Okay.
This episode primarily follows Charlie and Pim taking on the job of cheering up Desmond. At first it's set up like he's just a little kid that's feeling down, only for them to meet him and it's this freaking middle-aged slubby guy that's so depressed he's on the verge of killing himself, literally holding a gun to his head throughout the entire episode, which is such a great visual gag. The creators have said the concept of the Smiling Friends having to help a suicidal person is such an obvious elephant in the room, it either had to be the very first episode or the very last one, and I'm glad they chose to start with it. It's a really great comedic vehicle to instantly push Pim and Charlie out of their depth and establish their differing personalities for the audience. Seeing the cartoonishly positive Pim have to grapple with such a comically heavy subject matter, and especially how Charlie instantly wants to back out of the job.
Look, Pim, I know it's our job to help this guy and everything, but I think this guy's a lost cause. Why don't we just cut our losses and get out of here?
Oh, come on. That's nonsense, Charlie. We've never given up on the job so far.
The A-plot following Pim dragging Desmond and the unenthusiastic Charlie to various places that make life worth living. First his family home, which is just so terrible, with his sister verbally abusing him and his parents loudly arguing. Oh, and I love the little guy running in the background. Smiling Friends is full of these stupid little background gags you can easily miss the first time around, which makes it really fun to rewatch episodes. Also, I love how prominent Pim's Australian accent is here.
So I wanted to show him one of the best things life has to offer, quality family times.
It gets toned down a lot by the actual series, but it makes sense since he's voiced by Michael Cusack. Oh yeah, I should probably also mention Charlie is voiced by Sack, if you couldn't tell. Michael also voices Allan, while Sack does Glep, and Mr. Boss's voice is provided by Mark M. of Sick Animation, another internet animator. Actually, the majority of Smiling Friends' primary staff is made up of internet creatives instead of experienced TV professionals, and that really comes true in the final product. In fact, I'd say it's probably the biggest factor that makes Smiling Friends as unique as it is. I don't want this first episode's review to go on too long, so we'll get into this behind the scenes stuff more later, but there will be an absolute cavalcade of cameos from different guest animators and voice actors from all corners of the internet as we go on. This episode actually has one of my favorites, with Desmond being voiced by Mike Stolaska of Red Letter Media. He basically just does his Mr. Plinkett voice, which fits the Desmond character perfectly.
My wife left me, my kids left me, my dog died from a broken heart last fall. So I don't know, yeah, probably just gonna end it all or something.
All these little niche internet references and cameos to me work as a way to pay respect to the internet as a whole, because without the platform and fanbase Zack and Michael built on Newgrounds and later YouTube, we in all likelihood wouldn't have any Smiling Friends at all. Anyway, after his family time proves ineffective at cheering up Desmond, they all head to a house party where this iconic scene plays out.
Would you like to be our friend?
Whoa! What the f, dude? Don't touch me!
Oh, no, I'm sorry.
Dude, what the f? Why are you f***ing here, man? You're so old. Where's your wife? Go home to your family, dude.
This establishing yet another major gimmick of the show being its use of varied animation techniques. In this case, rotoscoping, which works phenomenally in making this POV scene of the guy making fun of Pim feel like really intense and off-putting. After even a trip to D-Daveland fails to lift Desmond's frown, and he gives his defining black pill speech, Pim is completely broken, whilst Charlie just wants Desmond to sign a form saying they failed to make him smile before he offs himself, drawing their plotline to a close. So I've been glazing this episode really hard so far, but if I am to give some criticism, it'd have to be that the B-plot is significantly less memorable or consistently funny than the A-plot. It's still like perfectly fine, but I guess it's hard to live up to the show's best. As the B-plot stays back at the office, where we get properly introduced to Allan and Glep. Glep simply sitting on his iconic purple beanbag, whilst Allan's OCD nature is established with him counting paper clips and going on a hunt for his precious piece of cheese, suspecting it may be due to a potential mouse infestation. This leading him into the walls of the Smiling Friends office, coming across Wall Guy, who's the highlight of this comparatively weaker B-plot for me. After this, Allan comes across the culprit of his missing cheese, not a mouse, but rather a full-on Gwimbly infestation, with them all breaking free and wreaking havoc across the office. This being the point where the two disparate plot points come together in a very satisfying Seinfeld-esque way, as the show loves to do, with Desmond pulling the gun from his head for the first time to eviscerate one of the Gwimblys, and overcoming his depression by finding a new purpose in life as a professional Gwimbly exterminator. This whole episode has a really efficient and well-paced narrative. There's a super funny and memorable gag like every minute, and the core plot with Desmond is legitimately effective as a way to give the episode a sense of stakes and cohesion, so it doesn't just feel like a series of random, albeit very funny gags. As I said, I don't find the B-plot with Allan's cheese nearly as funny or interesting, although how it ties into Desmond's resolution does elevate it quite a bit for me. So all that said, this is going to the top spot for now, obviously, but to be honest, I'll be very surprised if it gets knocked down from there anytime soon, as I believe this is easily one of the absolute best episodes of the show as I'm writing this. But a big part of why I'm making this video is, well, for one, to just have an excuse to spend more time rewatching and talking about Smiling Friends, but also because I'm curious how much my opinion of these episodes will change as we go through them with a more critical lens. But needless to say, we are off to a very strong start, so let's see how things change with the next episode of Smiling Friends as they go from a mere pilot to a full-on seasonal TV production. Okay, wow, another especially memorable episode here. Mr. Frog follows, well, Mr. Frog, a disgraced TV celebrity that Pim and Charlie set out to help by repairing his public image. This time, Pim and Charlie's dynamic is reversed, with Charlie being a big Mr. Frog fan that takes the prerogative, setting up increasingly disastrous plots to repair his PR, Pim acting more as the straight man this time. This whole episode is like ridiculously fast-paced. It feels like we're moving to a completely different plot point and setting like every minute almost. It gives it such a fun energy, and the whole episode just flies by. But oh my god, it must have taken so much work. Like, there's over a dozen distinct areas they go to, and it must have taken forever to design and draw all those backgrounds. But it serves for an absolutely absurd joke per minute counter on this one. There's so many standout gags here, like hearing the guy recording loudly breathing as Mr. Frog eats that guy.
Put a TMZ reporter in his mouth.
Mr. Frog bling Pim's exposed nerve ending, all the references to Charlie's uncle who's apparently killed like a dozen people, and Mr. Frog's love for Jimmy Fallon of all things. And of course the Mr. Frog show itself, which, fun fact, did you know Mr. Frog is the very first Smiling Friends character Zach and Michael came up with? Yep, and the Mr. Frog show was almost a real thing, as they were going to pitch that to Adult Swim before being talked out of it by Adam Paloyan, who, another fun fact, was the inspiration for Allan's voice. Okay, let's get back on track. The pacing of this episode doesn't slow down until we get to easily the best part of the episode, Mr. Frog's appearance on Jimmy Fallon. It's always looked to me like Jimmy is animated by cycling through a couple trace drawings of like the real guy. I'm not sure if that's the case, but either way, his weirdly inhuman, soulless way of moving really captures him well. Then Mr. Frog suddenly talking so laid back and realistically when he was so crazy for the rest of the episode sets everything up perfectly for the big punchline.
Like, what was the worst part about, like, the whole ordeal, like, working on your show?
Probably working with all those filthy...
That was really bad.
The B-plot this time follows Glep auditioning and getting the role as Mr. Frog's replacement. The TV executive guy looks like a Family Guy character. Actually, I always wondered if that was intentional, since this whole section could kind of be read as a critique of the TV animation industry Zach and Michael have to navigate, with the exec not really getting why Glep is so funny and forcing him to not spit, taking away all his edge and uniqueness to make him more appealing to a general audience. Adult Swim seems to be very lenient with giving showrunners freedom, but I can imagine Zach and Michael probably had a lot of similarly creatively stifling experiences like this when pitching shows to other studios and the like. as Smiling Friends is actually somewhat of a rebellion against the standard practices set in stone for TV animation. Most strikingly in how it utilizes a lot of freelance internet artists to bring it to life, allowing for it to look as good as it does with a, for animation standards, minuscule budget. Like, to give some context, an episode of Family Guy reportedly cost $2 million, whilst, according to SAC, the entire first season of Smiling Friends cost a bit less than that, meaning like less than $250k per episode. And I don't know about you, but I think this looks a lot better than this. It also just does a great job making you hate the TV exec, with him being such a prick to Glep, who is like the nicest little guy ever. He even hits him here. So it is super satisfying for the audience and the characters in the show when Mr. Frog breaks into the studio and eats them at the end, this winning him back the favor of the public and regaining his smile. Yeah, this episode's awesome as well. Another one that'll probably sit quite high in the final ranking. But I don't think it's quite as consistently funny as the pilot episode. I think that mainly comes down to Mr. Frog leading to much more cartoonishly absurd humor, whilst Desmond has a more grounded, comedically dark vibe that I think plays off the cartoony world better, making it just a hair funnier overall. It's close, but Mr. Frog is going in the number 2 spot for now.
Making Mr. Frog one of the richest and most powerful men on the planet.
Hello.
Those aren't peanuts. That's my bowl of worms from my compost. Oh, I could have sworn they were peanuts.
Pim, you really need to get glasses, man. You just ate worms.
No, I will get them eventually. I've just been too busy to go to the optometrist.
You've been saying that for like 7 months, man.
Shrimp's Odyssey is a bit more of a standard quality Smiling Friends episode to me. This follows Pim and Charlie helping my personal, most relatable Smiling Friends character, Shrimp, who's another great client, largely thanks to his voice performance by David Furt, the Salad Fingers guy.
Si, my girlfriend just broke up with me. I am heartbroken.
Oh, sorry to hear that, Shrimp.
He's depressed after being dumped by his one true love, Shrimpina. His design is just really funny looking, and I love his gamer room with the Mouse Quest 2 poster, 4 monitors all playing the same game, the lotion and used tissues on his desk, and especially the Funko Pops on the wall. Smiling Friends does a very good job accurately portraying this sort of hyper-specific real-world stuff, like a degenerate gamer's living space, adding in a lot of realistic details that makes its world and characters feel very believable and fleshed out without the need for any awkwardly shoot-in exposition. This time Pim and Charlie split up, with Charlie looking to turn Shrimp into an alpha male like himself so he can get another woman, whilst Pim goes to convince Shrimpina to take him back. That right there tells us a lot about their differing personalities.
That's the difference between you and me, Charlie. I believe in destiny!
And this episode actually works as a very good character expansion for both Pim and Charlie, establishing Charlie's macho dude bro attitude that's pretty core to his character, as opposed to the more emotionally sensitive Pim. Charlie trying to force Shrimp to be more like an alpha leads to some really funny moments.
How do I look, yellow man?
You look like you're about to tell your friend not to come to school tomorrow, man.
And I love the old guy at the gym interrupting Shrimp and Charlie to explain proper squatting form. That's just such a hilariously universal experience. Meanwhile, Pim ends up growing a crush on Shrimpina, although he never asks for her actual name. I wonder if that'll be relevant later. And we learn of his dream to find love and start a family. He almost steals her for Shrimp, but ultimately, the good-hearted Pim does the right thing and reintroduces the two, only for it to be revealed it's just some random woman named Jennifer. This leads to that gag where a character's like, "Oh my god, you're all these super negative things no one would ever like," in a super negative tone, only to suddenly go, "That's amazing, you're like the perfect guy actually." I don't know, I feel like it's a pretty overused gag. Like, this exact same joke is done in like the fucking Minions movie, and the resolution just feels a little forced to me. Like, I'm okay with a plotline's resolution feeling nonsensical if it's funny, or at least satisfying, but this is neither. It's the first big gag in the show that falls completely flat to me. Looking at the episode as a whole though, there are a ton of little moments I really like. Like that one background gag of some guy getting his head stomped in outside of Shrimp's apartment, the Chills cameo,
Number 15. Could I get the number 15?
And really everything with Charlie and Shrimp is great. But overall, it's just not quite as consistently funny as the previous two, since Pim's section is a lot lighter on comedy, with its main focus being getting you invested in his crush on Shrimpina, which, as I said, the ending of that just doesn't work for me. This is still far from a bad episode or anything, like I would still give it a 6 out of 10, a bit above average, but it is a huge step down from the previous two, so it's going to the bottom of the list. Hopefully there isn't anything worse in this season, since then it would be fearing on being actually kind of bad. Oh, there is Shmormu. Actually, the Shmormu bit is pretty funny. Okay, 7 out of 10.
Pim, her name was Shrimpina. She'd be a shrimp.
I did think that for a moment. I just thought it was like a quirky, like you didn't expect she was going to be a human thing.
Pim, this is so much worse than the worm stuff earlier. You really need to get your eyes checked.
No, I know,
dude.
I know. I'm going to do it first thing tomorrow. No, that was bad. I'm just as shocked as you are, Charlie.
This time it's a Halloween episode. I absolutely love how Smiling Friends commits to always having both a Halloween and Christmas episode every season. I don't know why, but holiday episodes of cartoons often end up being like some of their best, and this is no exception. This episode is completely different than any other in the series, being very light on fast-paced jokes and instead fully committing to the Halloween theme by being mostly just an atmospheric horror. Making it quite a divisive episode amongst fans. I swear I always see people call this either one of the best or one of the worst episodes of Smiling Friends. We open in the Smiling Friends office and everyone is here. I love all their costumes too. Allan going as the Joker, Glep and his wife Marge Simpson as Ronald and Nancy Reagan. Oh, and we're also first introduced to Charlie's girlfriend Zoe here, with her dressed up as a mouse, whilst Charlie is the only one who outright refuses to dress up, worried he'll get in trouble for dressing as something that'll be considered offensive in the future.
Face paint gets people in way more trouble than anything else. I mean, I have no idea what's going to be offensive in 10 years.
My absolute favorite is definitely Mr. Boss's Charlie Brown cosplay. He looks so creepy. He kicks off the episode's plot, letting everyone know that the Halloween party just can't go on without any firewood to burn, and Cowboy Pim is more than happy to take on the job. This is the first big showcase of Mr. Boss, and his little conversation with Pim is one of the funniest parts of the episode, especially when he gets all serious and Pim starts like breathing heavy.
Wait! One more thing. Whatever you do, don't go beyond the rickety bridge.
Oh, and him seemingly teleporting away and back in front of Pim at the end. Actually, if you look out for it, Mr. Boss does a lot of seemingly impossible things throughout the series, like removing his nose or turning his face into a dog. I always thought it was very funny how the one normal-ish looking human character is the only member of the main cast that can break the show's whole cartoony characters that act extremely realistic rule. It does a lot in making him feel kind of creepy and catching you off guard with the most unexpected of jokes. Anyway, it's after this point the horror elements take over, Pim ignoring Mr. Boss's advice and crossing the bridge. The deeper he gets into the woods, the darker the visuals become. And oh my god, this episode has some really nice visuals, featuring a lot of beautiful backgrounds and moments of insanely nice animation that set a very strong mood and also work well in getting you invested as Pim runs away from this legitimately pretty creepy claymation black monster thing. Then of course when he finally chases Pim all the way back to the office, everything comes together with the insanely funny joke of everyone thinking he's in blackface, calling back to Charlie's gag at the beginning.
Whoa, is that blackface, dude?
No, this isn't blackface. I'm an actual demon.
Bro, please tell me that's not blackface.
Not cool, man.
No, you don't understand. I'm literally a forest demon from across the bridge. This isn't a costume.
Get the out, man.
Then using his body as firewood, neatly tying together all the disparate plot threads, and doing it in a super humorous way. Holy moly, this is another phenomenal episode. I really don't have anything I can nitpick with it. I can kinda see why some people don't like this one, since it doesn't have the same rapid-fire comedy of almost every other episode from the series. But it pulls off the horror angle so well that it more than makes up for the lack of jokes. And the jokes that are here are really, really good too. Especially considering the blackface gag wouldn't have hit nearly as hard without the horror section essentially acting as one big build-up to it. So yeah, Still not quite as strong as the pilot for me, but this is actually going above Mr. Frog in the number 2 spot. Salties is a interesting episode for me. This one's actually a murder mystery, which is a pretty big cliche for cartoons, but you'd expect a show like Frowning Friends would find a way to make it more interesting and unpredictable. This one sees Pim and Charlie head to Charlie's favorite fast food restaurant, Salty's. Only when they show up, they find the titular Simon S. Salty has been murdered. After this, they call the cops, but they say they don't do murders anymore, and that's been moved to another department, only for Mr. Boss to call them and say their next job is to find out who killed Salty. When this was new, that really made me wonder, like, what exactly is the Smiling Friends? Like, do they make money? Because you never see the clients pay or anything, so I guess they're more like a charity, but then this makes it seem like they're owned by the government or something. I mean, I know you're probably not meant to think about it that hard, but now I'm very intrigued. Maybe a later episode will clear this up. So after they round up all the mascots that work at Salty's, including what should have been a Chris Chan voiced grease puddle. Yeah, apparently Zack and Michael wrote Grease for and had every intention of having it voiced by D. Chris Chan. Only due to some obscure TV rules, with only being allowed so many cameos in any given season, they had to cut a role. I suppose they ended up dodging a bullet since the incident happened only a short while before this season premiered, but man, that would have been so funny. At least we still get Doug later. So Charlie and Pim split up and interrogate all the Salty mascots. The best one is obviously Mustard. First, it's so absurd showing this little anthropomorphic mustard packet performing fellatio on Salty, who's like a real life guy. Apparently there was a major case of censorship with this scene too, where we were originally going to hear what's described as super fast gagging sounds throughout the scene, but I guess that was too extreme for standards and practices. Yet another joke this episode that's made way less funny due to circumstances outside of the creator's control. But her totally rizzing up Charlie and the little like gulp he does when they're interrupted by Pim. That's very funny.
Yeah, we're all done here.
Oh, and the Fun Twins are great too.
Pim, how did you understand any of that? What?
After coming up empty-handed, they find the fabled Century Egg character, who, after being taken off the menu, was chained up in a basement by Salty, I guess. And he gives them a tape of Salty's murder on the condition they bury him in China.
Oh yeah, we will definitely go to China to bury you, man.
Leading to the big reveal that all the mascots killed Salty. Or rather, none of them did, since right before that, he had a heart attack from his greasy-ass hamburgers. It's a reasonably amusing twist. I feel like my review of this episode is incredibly all over the place, and that reflects the episode itself. This is definitely the most uneven and inconsistent episode so far. It does have a few very high highs, like the parts I pointed out, but the episode itself, for like most of runtime, is focused on the mascots, who are all very one note, and to be honest, not all that funny for me, with the exception of Mustard and the Spam Twins. It also feels like the Century Egg guy comes too out of nowhere, does not do anything particularly funny, and takes up way too much valuable screen time for such a packed episode. Like, why are we setting up this story of him being chained up by Salty just for it to have zero impact on anything, and using him as a way for Charlie and Pim to find the tape of Salty's murder? I feel like it'd be better to just have them find the tape in his office normally or something quicker, so you could give that time to improving the comedy with the other mascots. Since for most of them, like Salt and Pepper, where the joke is just they kiss, and the cup guy who craps himself, it's just that one joke without any kind of setup or swerve at all, and then we move on. Whereas with the Spam Twins, for example, first there's them going crazy while Pim's trying to interview them, the crazy visuals of their nonsensical story, Charlie asking Pim how he can even understand them, and finally them spitting acid on Pim's arm. You know, there's a lot more beats that build upon themselves there, and it makes the scene a lot funnier. Then the mystery itself feels so underbaked. Like there's no time to establish a real motive for the mascots, because some of them only get like 20 seconds of screen time. I guess they just bit off a bit more than they could chew trying to squeeze all these characters in a 10-minute episode. Man, I don't want to say this, but I think this is the worst Smiling Friends episode, at least for now. It hurts to say, but this is going below Shrimp's Odyssey, making it, by my own words, the first kind of bad Smiling Friends episode. I do not remember disliking this one so much before, but breaking it down, while there are still some flashes of great comedy and the story's serviceable, half the episode is just not particularly enjoyable for me. Hey, but one positive. This is the first episode with a post-credit scene. I actually forgot they didn't do that for every episode at first. It's a joke showing they actually did go to China to bury the Sentry Egg. Pretty funny, but it doesn't make up for him dragging down the episode itself. Sorry.
You know, what do they taste like? I've never tried a Sentry Egg before.
Really? Okay, you have to try it at least once.
Okay, these next few episodes should be a lot more positive. Next up we have the Enchanted Forest, where Pim and Charlie have to trek through the mythical forest to help its princess find her smile. This is probably the best character-driven episode so far, as the conflict between Pim and Charlie is really the core of this one story. It's very cute to see how excited to explore the forest and take on quests Pim is, whilst Charlie's complete lack in interest of any of it is quite funny. But then things completely flip after they meet Mip, Pim growing continually more annoyed by him taking charge of their adventure and kinda stealing Charlie from him, whilst with Mip's help, Charlie aces a ton of quests and becomes a hero of the forest, but inadvertently neglects Pim. Most of this is shown through a quick musical sequence, which helps keep the pacing tight, and in contrast to the previous episode, this brings such a simple and focused story with just 3 main characters that it allows for everything to feel really well realized. Like, you really do believe why Pim gets so pissed, when having him act like this could easily feel forced and out of character without all the time we spent establishing his love for the forest and him feeling left out. They also sort of repeat the mustard gag from the previous episode, but even that is way improved this time around. In that all-timer scene where some very intimate tension starts to build between Charlie and Mip.
Well, maybe it was your song that helped me become a hero. Well, maybe I like that.
Mip is getting pretty sleepy. Maybe we should get some rest.
Yeah. Yeah. Good idea.
I also like how they decide to kill off Mip at the end now that he's served his narrative purpose of building tension between Pim and Charlie, and him being so protective of his gift to the princess and turning into a demon when he dies works as some very cool foreshadowing on repeat watches. His death snapping Pim out of his petty jealousy and his final words letting Charlie realize how he was ignoring Pim. You know, it all comes together very neatly. Also his tragic death being reframed when it's revealed he was a stalker, with his gift to the princess being a freaking bomb the whole time. And then the fact that he's dead now is what makes the princess smile.
Wait, so you said he's definitely dead though, right?
Yeah, he's dead. He's definitely
Yeah, I think he
dead.
melted into goo.
I love it. It's simultaneously narratively satisfying while still being a big twist and comedic beat to end the episode on a high note. This is easily another one I expect to end up near the top of the list. I love the storyline and genuinely engrossing conflict between Pim and Charlie, and I have to give an extra big shout out to how phenomenally the guest animator of this episode, Newgrounds legend Harry Partridge and his team did animating Mip, replicating the style of that old animated Hobbit movie. But this episode just isn't quite as funny overall as the pilot is to me. To dethrone that, I think we need an episode with both a strong narrative and the same level of consistently great gags as it. So for now, the Enchanted Forest is going in the number 3 spot, just below the Halloween episode. Oh my god, this season is so good, dude. We have another amazing episode. Frowning Friends follows, well, the Frowning Friends, Grim and Gnarly, the sorrowful versions of Pim and Charlie that set up a business across the street focused on making people frown. The opening brings back another one of those great, awkwardly realistic improv feeling scenes, with Charlie telling Pim that the Renaissance men are coming to town.
It's like really soon.
Who are the Renaissance men? I don't know who they are. Like the Renaissance Fair?
Dude, I'm just telling you. Look, I'm just telling you what I'm reading here, man. That's all I know. You know as much as I know. I'm just reading off this thing. It says the Renaissance men are coming in town really soon.
Okay.
Like ASAP.
I just don't know what that means. I don't know what that is.
The whole concept of the Frowning Friends is so stupid, and it does a great job driving a plot throughout the episode, while also working as a conduit for a ton of great, rapid-fire, super strong comedy. With Grim and Gnarly ruining each time Charlie and Pim try to make someone smile, given everyone thinks they're the same people. The highlight of this episode is definitely DJ's spit. His design is just so funny looking. I love his ridiculously low-hanging pants and the tweaker voice Zach does for him.
Oh, I'm freaking pissed off, man. I always want to be a SoundCloud artist, man.
Then the second guy's head turning into DJ Spit somehow. It's a rare moment of completely impossible absurdist comedy for the show, so it does a great job catching you off guard. And this episode also brings back the B-plots, this time being a big highlight for Mr. Boss, showing how deranged he can be as he goes crazy over the threat of the Frowning Friends. I especially love his conversation with Warren Buffett, Ronald Reagan, and Mr. Peanut of all characters. And his Green Goblin scene is super well directed and intense too. It is absolutely insane to me how well this show can consistently adapt completely different tones like this. And it then acting as the resolution to the A-plot is awesome too. Mr. Boss pulling a gun on Grim, causing him to break down crying and pissing, begging for his life, revealing his nihilist attitude as fake and try-hard. It works pretty well as a light form of social commentary, critiquing people who try to act so intelligent and above everything by being constant downers all the time, which makes it hit a lot harder. And I really like Mr. Boss confronting him at the end, and that being this episode's smile. That's actually a pretty sweet touch.
Hey, don't cry. You should be happy that your idea was so good that it drove me bonkers with jealousy. That's kind of cool, huh?
Of course, it then all gets nullified when they call back to the Renaissance Men gag that opened the episode.
Fire!
Yeah, Frowning Friends rules. This episode has pretty much everything. It's another one that's going near the top of the list. Okay, we're already at the finale. Did I manage to finish this fairly consistent season strong? Charlie Dies and Doesn't Come Back is this season's Christmas episode, and plot-wise, it's very unique, focusing solely on Charlie. Everything about this episode stands out actually, like the whole first 3 minutes going by without a single joke. We've mentioned multiple times now how funny the Smiling Friends trademark realistic conversations are, but this episode ingeniously utilizes that same format but makes it a dead serious arguments between Pim and Charlie. It feels so real and uncomfortable. Pim justifiably calling out Charlie for never taking jobs seriously and being so negative, even calling back to him not caring about the Desmond job, which is very cool since this is the first major continuity callback Smiling Friends does, and it along with finally addressing how at odds Pim and Charlie tend to be, even if it's used primarily as a source of comedy, does a great job lending this episode a sense of weight and finality. Since when Zack and Michael were writing this episode, I suspect they probably wrote it knowing there was a very real chance they wouldn't be picked up for a second season, and this could very well have been the very last episode of Smiling Friends. Anyway, that argument does an amazing job getting you invested when, like the title promised, Charlie does die and ends up sent to hell, with this really cool live-action transportation sequence. Look, it's an angry video game nerd. We finally get some levity with Charlie meeting the very unserious demons of hell.
Dude, if you do that again, I'm gonna punch you. I'm not kidding.
And there's another particularly pretty section of animation as Charlie treks through hell to meet Satan, who's been feeling down lately, making this an unofficial solo job for Charlie to make Satan smile.
I think the biggest surprises are behind me. Dude, I warned you. I said I was gonna do that if you did that again.
Once Charlie meets the devil, the episode becomes even more amazing. At the beginning of the episode, when everyone was decorating the office, Charlie's seen not helping and absent-mindedly playing Rust on his gaming laptop, and that is mirrored by Satan here, also playing Rust with the same energy drinks and trash strewn around him. Actually, everything about Satan's room here is incredibly well designed. I love how he has Discord open on the other monitor, the little under-desk heater, used tissues, and half-eaten food thrown everywhere. It's so insanely accurate to a real-life depressed gamer's den. Oh, and when the guy comes to deliver his Uber Eats and they have their little awkward conversation, that might be one of the best gags of the whole season.
Just right over there. Yeah, right over there. That's fine. Yep.
Yeah, I didn't know if you were this place or the one next to
I think it's just something to do with the way the address shows up in the app. I mean, it's not a problem. Don't even worry about it.
Yeah. I just need to take a picture of the food really quick.
Yeah, all good. Thanks.
Good night.
You have a good one.
You. Happy holidays.
Merry Christmas.
Charlie points out and simultaneously internalizes about himself that Satan is overly indulging in the short-term dopamine hits of his all-too-common unhealthy addictions, not putting in the effort to nurture the more meaningful, rewarding things in life, like his job and those around him. In the process, impressing God and passing his test who brings Charlie back to life.
I
hope you learn from this cool experience. Merry Christmas!
Yeah, dude, this episode rules. The little arc for Charlie is so freaking good, and really shows the range and writing skills of Zack and Michael, being able to create a genuinely emotionally resonant story like this, which is very fitting for a Christmas episode. Even though there is a bit less humor overall, what is here is great, like Mr. Boss's slam poetry at Charlie's funeral, and especially the reveal at the end that the narrator was future Glep the whole time, with him being voiced by Tomar. Yeah, an absolutely amazing episode to end the season on. In fact, it is the new best Smiling Friends episode. We actually have a quick pit stop before moving on to season 2. So after the pilot came out, there was a small audience eagerly awaiting the season premiere in January of 2022. Mostly just people who are already fans of Zack and Michael's previous work, and they got a big surprise when they re-aired the pilot, then the second episode, then the third, and just kept on going, premiering the entire season in one night. It was truly a great time to be alive. And as we've seen, the quality of it was so high it instantly made Smiling Friends one of the most popular Adult Swim shows, growing a strong cult following quite literally overnight. So with this special that aired a whole 7 months later in August, they played another trick on the audience. This time there was a decent amount of promotion done for the episode, showing key art of the crew hanging out on a beach and hyping this episode up as a big event that'll take everyone out of their element on a big holiday to Brazil. Only for the episode to air and give us none of that. The entire thing being a big swerve, where instead of the wacky adventure we were anticipating, we get an 11-minute argument between Allan, Glep, Pim, and Charlie, who are stuck at the airport after they forgot to book a hotel room. Well, Pim forgot to book it, but that's only because he thought it was Alan's job, and all he did was send Pim a message telling him to do it instead, without even confirming if he got it. Yeah, I'm on Pim's side of this whole thing. But what do you guys think? Who was in the wrong here? Comment below. Anyway, there's not a ton to analyze here other than the realistic improv dialogue between the characters that this time makes up the whole episode, works super well and is consistently funny. Them calling Mr. Boss and him sounding so serious is a big highlight.
Right now it's Mardi Gras here in Brazil, so just everywhere's booked. Everywhere's fully booked out, so, yeah.
Okay, well, shoot. Let me see.
If you can't think of anything,
Yeah,
you've already...
You chose the worst time to go. You chose the worst time to go.
We know. Yeah, we know.
We can figure this out.
One thing this episode does give us is a lot of time seeing the dynamic between everyone when they're just hanging out. Like, the extended cast outside of Pim and Charlie don't get much time to shine this season, but this shows they all play off each other very well, and the whole cast is surprisingly well defined and likable. Like, for example, Glep getting flustered here is such a cute detail.
I know you want to see all those sexy Brazilian girls.
Okay. Whoa.
Glep.
You can really feel they have that work-colleague kind of friendship just from being around each other for so long. Overall, it's a pretty funny episode. I do think its punch is softened quite a bit on rewatches when you know the big twist of them never even leaving the airport, but it's still enjoyable. Obviously, considering what it's going for, it can't really live up to the best of the season, so it's going to sit on the lower end of the ranking, but that's just because this season overall is so damn good. So let's see the final rankings. There was quite a large 2-year wait between the first and second season, with our first episode not premiering until April of 2024. Season 2 is where the popularity of the show really exploded. As the season went on, it just became more and more of a phenomenon, especially within internet culture in general, and not just with animation fans. Through stuff like memes and constant references all across the net. It's common for the second season to be where shows really find their voice and hit a stride. But with how uncommonly incredible the first season already was, will Smiling Friends be able to surpass those high expectations? Let's find out.
Glep? Can I help you?
What is this place?
This is Smiling Friends. We're like a charity that helps people smile.
Oh, so they are a charity. I forgot about that. This episode also establishes it's apparently a rule that the Smiling Friends must do whatever the client asks until they smile. This plays a big role in the episode, with this big buff guy James basically abusing the rule to have an excuse to bully Charlie the entire day. But the real star of the show is the A-plot that not only features the all-timer client Gwimbly, but an extremely novel Pim and Allan pairing. You may have noticed I barely mentioned the other Smiling Friends besides Pim and Charlie throughout season 1, and that's largely because they really do not get much to do that season. So as we'll see, season 2 takes the opportunity to feature them as major players in a lot of the episodes, which is very effective in keeping the show feeling fresh. Especially Allan here. It's really funny seeing how he just does not give a shit about helping Gwimbly at all and just wants to get rid of him as quick as possible.
Yeah! See you now.
What? She startled me.
Making him a great foil to the starstruck Pim, as he used to play Gwimbly's games as a tadpole, since you see Gwimbly's character is that of a disgraced video game mascot platformer, ignored by his parent company and now being homeless. His clearly PS1 inspired style, brought to life by the guest animator HoloP, makes me think he's inspired specifically by Crash Bandicoot, or maybe Rayman fits better considering how Ubisoft's treated him over the years. But who knows, he could just as easily be like Croc or something. Either way, they really get the most out of Gwimbly in this episode. In fact, so far, he is probably the funniest client the Smiling Friends have helped.
And I'm gonna say what nobody else is willing to say. America has a fucking fat law crisis. Ew, ew, ew.
I love his little Gwimbly dance. The cameo message is great too. Oh, and when he starts screaming and his freaking bit crushed audio starts peaking.
Swear to God, if I had my Gwimbly gun on me right now!
No, stop.
That's amazing. The greedy gaming CEO that doesn't care about the franchise that made his company what it is, focusing instead on new games that can push DLC and microtransactions, is another very real kind of annoyance in life that you'd never see portrayed so accurately in any other show, making him very easy to hate. Meanwhile, everything with James torturing Charlie is actually super funny too. It's easy for this whole torture porn slapstick stick to come off as tryhard and uncomfortable in cartoons, but here he's so insanely over the top and petty, it actually works. Also, him being used to end off the A-plot by killing the gaming CEO, inadvertently freeing Gwimbly from his rule so he can end up joining Smash Brothers, is a very clean, satisfying resolution to both plot lines, with I guess committing murder being what James needed to finally smile in the end. Yeah, this episode is great. In terms of just pure comedy, this is one of the show's best. So it's obviously going to the top of the season 2 ranking for now, and will act as a good benchmark for the rest of the season. If anything this season tops this, know that makes it an absolutely amazing episode of Smiling Friends.
You did it again, James. You pushed away the one guy who actually gave a damn about you. Shit.
Okay, here we go. The most hated episode of Smiling Friends. Literally every list I've ever seen, this is either in the bottom 5 or the very lowest spot. So is it really as bad as everyone says? We open the episode with everyone in the office discussing the ongoing election, dropping my all-time favorite Allan quote.
President Ross Perot won re-election in 1996 in a major upset.
Oh, you're so right, Pim. I forgot about that factoid.
The way he says, I forgot about that little factoid. It's so funny to me, I don't even know why. This leads into Pim and Charlie being given the job of making the President Jimbo smile by ensuring he wins the election. Things are complicated for Jimbo's hopes when it is revealed a returning Mr. Frog is also entering the presidential race. His promotional video is insanely funny, probably the highlight of this whole episode.
And together we can build Mr. Frog's America.
Hello, I'm Mr. Frog and I approve this message. No, I don't. I hate you. Fuck you.
And this establishes a rule that the second episode of every season has to be a Mr. Frog episode, which I'm not going to complain about. I love Mr. Frog. Now, I think the main reason this episode is so hated is definitely Jimbo himself. It kind of feels like the idea with him is, what if Chris Chan became president? His speaking mannerisms are pretty similar, and especially his focus on trolls and his childlike view of the world, which leads to some really great absurd comedy, like him declaring himself the money president and saying he's gonna give everyone $1 million, completely crashing the economy. But there's also the unfortunately more prominent gimmick of his penchant for lamb chops, and shitting himself from said lamb. Yeah, I'm pretty sure this is the only time Smiling Friends leans so hard into blatant gross-out comedy. This style can become pretty obnoxious, but to be honest, in this case I think it works. And I think that's mostly due to how, like most of the audience will, all the characters freaking hate Gwimbly. Like how by his second scene, Pim and Charlie are already clearly annoyed by him, with Charlie even going as far as to walk out on the job by the halfway point.
If you think about it, that's a funny word. Debate. Thank you.
Pim, I can't do this anymore. I'm done. I'm bailing.
All right.
The blow is also lessened by the actor who plays Gwimbly just being naturally so funny. Maybe I just have a high tolerance for gross out stuff, but him being covered in sauce and all that doesn't bother me, given it's not the main focus of the jokes with him, and is instead used to establish him as someone woefully unfit for an important job, and all the humor coming from him screwing things up, like accidentally endorsing a war criminal, leading to him carrying out a genocide. To give some criticism, the whole thing with the warm Illuminati does feel like it comes a little out of nowhere, and the concept is not that funny, but it's quick, inoffensive, and gives the audience a reason to believe Gwimbly has at least some chance to win the race, which is necessary for the final joke of the episode to land, with Mr. Frog only winning by one vote, that being by Glep, making everybody super pissed till he quickly explains it in his Glepish language and everyone instantly understands. That's great, and the part with Charlie and Pim here is really cute too.
Yeah, well, you know, it kind of reminds me how Shrimpo Jones won those debates by surprise and went on the landslide in 1980.
Oh, Charlie, look at you with the political facts now.
Yeah, well, hey, man, who knows? Maybe you're the one that got me into politics.
Oh, okay, good. Scanning political, I see. I see you, Charlie.
Sorry for playing so many clips this time, but I just want to point out this episode does have a ton of great gags, and I feel they more than make up for the weaker parts, like its reliance on gross out humor. So this is probably going to be my most controversial take, but I think this episode is pretty damn good. Now, it's not going to reach the top half of the overall ranking or anything, but it's far, far from the bottom. In contrast to the last widely hated episode, I hold a contrarian position of really liking, and Allan Adventure is a beloved episode I have a much less positive view of. Let's start with the positives. Everything with Allan and Mr. Boss is great.
You know, the thing that's all like...
Paper clips?
Yeah, that's it. If you could fetch some for me, I might have a special reward for you.
Okay, I'm gonna go get those paper clips then.
Cool. I really hurt my finger doing that paperclip bit.
Yeah, no, I saw.
And obviously the little version of him being the big reward after Allan completes his job is hilarious. The paperclip guy's alright, and his argument with the 6-arm guy at the store is a big highlight. I love how intense they get. But that's it really. It's easy to forget, but like the vast majority of this episode's runtime is dedicated to the big action scene of Allan chasing down the paperclips. It goes on for over 5 minutes, which is like half the episode's runtime. It is cool to see DJ spit, but it's ultimately just there for fan service, and he doesn't actually say anything especially funny. I guess the joke here is just supposed to be how crazy and over the top everything is, but that alone is not so effective for me. I feel bad because the animation through this whole sequence is super impressive, especially the helicopter chase and the stop motion skeleton guys. But there just isn't anything funny done with them beyond the absurdity of it being there. I think the episode is going for something similar to the amazing Halloween episode from season 1, which also has a long sequence with next to no big gags. But there, for one, the horror is legitimately well done, whereas everything here goes by too quick and is a bit too crazy and disconnected for any one sequence to have any impact. And the payoff is no blackface gag. It's revealed Allan's landlord set the whole thing up to force him to play Burnout Revenge and smoke weed with him. But the justification of all this being animatronics and special effects by the landlord is just too stupid to be believable, which has the unfortunate side effect of making the joke fall flat. It's just a little too forced and arbitrary for me. Which is a big problem when, again, this is what the majority of the episode's runtime is dedicated to. So yeah, I don't want to dwell too much on the negatives, but hopefully you guys can understand where I'm coming from with this, because for now, this is my personal least favorite Smiling Friends episode. Bottom of the list. This is definitely an episode of two halves, despite being another lacking a proper B-plot. The first half is beginning and ending, where we're focused on the Brittany character, a spawn of Satan who's basically like a succubus that mind controls and marries Mr. Boss, with the ultimate goal of sucking away his life force and giving his riches to Satan. The idea of her being like one of those fake positive millennial live laugh love kind of people is pretty good in concept, but I more so just find her kind of annoying. Like, that's clearly the intention, but unlike Jimble, she doesn't facilitate much in the way of standout gags with how everyone else plays off of her. It's especially annoying because Mr. Boss being under control means in his first major role, we don't get anything funny from him either. He does get his own proper highlight episode soon, and that one rules. But yeah, this whole Brittany business just feels extremely underbaked, unfortunately. However, the second half of the episode, that we spend with Pym, Allan, and Charlie working together to kill her and free Mr. Boss, is freaking sweet. Brittany does work as a great narrative driving force that gives this part of the episode a sense of stakes, which put together with a ton of amazing jokes, totally saves it from ending up at the bottom of the list. Charlie's uncle holding onto that creepy animatronic girl from the old I Feel Fantastic YouTube video is such an absurdly unexpected thing for the show to reference, and it's used to great effect.
Hello, Adam.
Ew.
Obviously, as a Doug Walker connoisseur, I love Daniel the Demon Slayer, and him stopping to do a sponsor read before telling them how to kill Brittany is another piece of really, really great, relatable, contemporary humor that this show does so well. And I just love seeing Allan get another big role. He actually plays off the rest of the cast really well, usually being put in more of the straight man archetype.
Fucking hell!
Allan, it's fine.
I knew it was gonna do that.
You're fine. Let's just go kill the boss's wife.
Jesus Christ.
So put those two halves together and you get a perfectly average Smiling Friends episode. It's probably going to end up in the lower middle of the rankings. The resolution with Brittany basically just killing herself by falling out a window at the end is a bit too out of nowhere to be satisfying, but I do like Mr. Boss's song at the end.
I know 4 employees that I just adore. I'm so happy I can see them more, 'cause we make people smile all day.
Awesome, man.
Cool.
Yeah, what is it?
You two now have the privilege of helping the one, the only, Jared Fogle, the subway guy. Pretty cool, right? Oh, Lord. I'm just fucking with you.
That was too far, man. Jared Fogle is a genuine fucking menace. Absolutely not. I did not like that.
Yeah, he's a pedophile.
The Jared Fogle bit leading into Mr. Boss turning his face into a dog is truly an all-timer scene.
Oh, please, I'm serious this time. Please believe me.
Fuck off, dude. That's cheap. That's low-hanging fruit.
That one got you.
Yeah, the dog face. Yeah, the dog got me. Good job.
Actually, I'm realizing this season has a lot of references, doesn't it? This episode also has Professor Psychotic reenacting that Russian homunculus video. And he himself, I mean, with that name, he's supposed to be a Professor Insano parody, right? Considering we had Nostalgia Critic in the last episode, it's not too far a stretch. Anyway, Psychotic's yet another amazing client. His relationship with his brother and how amazingly real and hard-hitting the joke with him walking in on him is.
Trying to watch a nice romantic movie, and all we're hearing is injecting DNA into an egg.
Yeah, well, that's what I do. Yeah.
Yeah, that's what you do. You waste time. You do stupid shit all the time.
You know, this is what I care about.
This is what you care about. Care about something better.
How about the economy of my patience? It's running tin, buddy. Paper tin like these walls. Oh my god, the first few minutes of this one might be the funniest series of back-to-back gags in the whole show. The main plot with Pym and Charlie trying to get the two brothers to make up is really great too, since you really do get invested in wanting to see them make up after that hilariously uncomfortable argument. Also, Psychotic's brother Doug being rotoscoped and brought to life by Joel Haver perfectly fits his character of just being like a normal, real-life dude, which is just automatically so comical in the crazy world of Smiling Friends.
You know, I'm just happy Mother's not here to see it. Check this out.
Oh my god. I'm sorry.
Pretty fucking serious.
And it's great how his model is clipping like crazy as he gets in a big fight with Psychotic at the end, who also is rotoscoped only for this scene. The show having so many different animation styles in itself is cool, but when they actively take advantage of that to create the humor, it works so well. Like, there really is nothing else like Smiling Friends. As for the payoff with Psychotic actually succeeding in creating life, and the brothers making up to take care of the little homunculus, in the past I'd criticized this for being so out of nowhere. But there is at least some foreshadowing, with creating life being Psychotic's whole goal earlier in the episode, and I'm okay with plot resolutions coming out of nowhere if they work as good gags, which this absolutely does. So yeah man, after that dry spell, we have another certified amazing Smiling Friends episode. I'm actually putting this at the top of the Season 2 list for now. Here's another super fun one. This time Pim and Charlie get abducted by aliens. A really out there concept even for Smiling Friends, but Pim and Charlie are such strong characters, they really do work in any kind of story. The aliens being like frat boy dude bros is quite funny, and their space party leads to some crazy looking and creative visuals. Actually, the animation is particularly scrumptious in this episode. Like, obviously the party scene, but even the more quiet parts of character acting with Pim and Charlie are drawn super expressive. The animation is taking a big step up this season in general. The characters are much more tied down and on model, but can still be exaggerated for strong comedic moments. I can imagine after how well received Season 1 was, they got a lot more time and budget for talent to play around with, and it definitely shows. Also, here's a cool detail. Did you know the aliens are actually voiced by the Red Letter Media guys? Yep, Mike Returns and Rich Evan does the other alien. It's really hard to tell since they have that voice filter, but I'd recognize that laugh anywhere.
Oh, yeah, and there's no such thing as a Zeep torture device. That's like Black Mirror shit, dude.
I find myself with less to analyze this episode, beyond the fact that from the scene meeting Pim's alien hunting friends, to them getting abducted, meeting the aliens, and their relationship turning sour, everything is supremely well paced, giving a perfect amount of time for a nice narrative to form without any section dragging on, and all its different twists manage to hit hard while still squeezing in a ton of great humor throughout. I especially love Pim's friend being obsessed with Flat Earth, because at first it's like, oh wow, another Flat Earth joke, like I haven't heard that 100 times already. But then it coming back at the end, with Pim and Charlie seeing Earth actually is flat, and their genuinely panicked reaction to literally having their worldview shattered.
The Earth, the Earth is flat.
Charlie, the Earth can't actually be flat, right?
There's the glass stove too, dude. Oh my god, dude.
Oh my. This can't be real.
I need to sit down.
This can't.
It's a genius final gag to end this already great episode on.
The bad news is I have to let one of you go. Tyler, you're fired.
Huh? What? You fired Tyler, you fired me too.
It's fine, Charlie. I love you, brother.
Let's grab some drinks after work, man. I love you. I'll text you.
Okay, this season really redeemed itself after that slow start. We have another incredible episode. This one sees yet another unique pairing of Pim and Mr. Boss venturing into the utterly insane land of Spamtopia. Spamtopia itself is really the star of this episode, and what a beautiful star it is. I love everything here so much. The eye-searing oversaturated colors, the fact everyone has that Microsoft Sam TTS voice, and everything there being so chaotic not only lends itself to some phenomenal random humor, which can be funny when done well.
What's your, what kind of loggers do you have?
Is she gonna come back?
But it also works well narratively, because it's supposed to feel foreign and dangerous for our main characters. Also, as I alluded to earlier, this episode is a great showcase for Mr. Boss. He does more of his reality bending gags here, like instantly teleporting Pim into his car, and removing his nose to reveal cyanide after they get captured by Oscar. I really love the choice to have him be like racist against Spanish people too. It's okay though, since he comes to like them by the end.
I learned today that all cultures are equal, and there's no such thing as a bad culture.
The B-plot sees Charlie, Glep, and Allan have to look after Mr. Boss's son, Jason. Remember him from the pilot? Yeah, you do. Actually, this episode gives us a ton of random callbacks to previous episodes, like Pim understanding Spanish, being inspired by him understanding the Fun Twins back in Salties, and of course, Charlie finally confronting Allan for sucking on his nose in the pilot. That one's especially great since for hardcore fans it adds to the joke like, yeah, I remember that was weird, wasn't it? Then this tension leading to a full-on fight breaking out between them after Jason dies. It's just great to see the characters clashing like this. A little drama really adds to the impact of everything later on. Of course, this episode has to nail the ending, tying the plots together by having the red jewel Mr. Boss went to Spantopia for in the first place being used to revive Jason, and leading to that iconic gag with his purple glitter blinding everyone. Overall, this episode just exudes such an intense and fun energy. Every single joke lands. Charlie and Allan's more dramatic section gives some tonal variety. It utilizes the show's strengths for mixed animation styles and some neat callbacks to elevate its humor tenfold. We once again have a new best episode of season 2.
Look, man, I really think I could get the boss to rehire you.
Yeah, fuck that noise, man. I'm just gonna keep making my music.
Respect, man. Respect.
After last season's Christmas episode taking the overall top spot so far, how does their second seasonal outing stack up? Not too good, unfortunately. This episode is pretty much entirely focused on the new Rotten the Snowman character, instead of a typical Smiling Friends job. Actually, now that I think about it, this season had barely any traditional make the client smile episodes. Yeah, only 5 out of the 8 episodes this season actually feature the Smiling Friends, like, doing their job. Huh. Well, anyway, the main reason I don't exactly love this episode is Rotten himself. He's just a bit too basic and, well, annoying, to be honest. With him spending most of the episode streaming after finding out he's going to melt and die someday. It sucks because they got D Master Shake to do his voice, only for it to be my least favorite character of the whole show. To give some positives, it is very cute how attached Pym gets to him, and, well, that's it. All the great stuff this episode happens independent of Rotten, like the amazing Bill Nye gag where he gets electrocuted and his body seizes up like so hyper-realistically, then how traumatized Charlie sounds after it. I also find that scene when the gang is all joking around and being so over-the-top friendly super charming.
Mr. Bus, is that true?
Yep, that was all Allan.
Yep, it's true.
Allan, you built the rocket boots that the bus flew
That was
on.
me.
Yeah, okay. In that case, we're absolutely gonna take the snowman to a cold place.
It won't melt. He won't melt.
Mr. Bus, you're having the time of your life back there.
I don't know,
okay?
I love my boys.
Probably the highlight of this episode. But yeah, the stuff with Rotten just completely falls flat to me. I just don't care about what happens to him since I don't find his screaming or generic childlike personality that precedes that particularly likable, nor do the characters play off it in any funny way, which is a big problem since, unlike the Halloween episode, this one has no subplot to fall back on. The few good gags in between, like Charlie's speech at the end, and the others I listed, save this episode from being outright bad. It's cool Oni finally gets a voice line, providing the voice for that Yeti, but I feel this has to end up very close to the bottom of the overall list for me.
Wow, I love my friends, and I love my God, and I love my country, and God bless America, I guess. What else can you say?
The biggest change that strikes me about this season is the lesser focus on giving episodes a strong narrative. Most of the episodes this season are all about the gags, with the plot just being a basic setup that they can then riff off of. Personally, I do think combining an engaging narrative along with great gags can really elevate an episode, which is why I personally feel like Season 2 is quite a bit weaker than the first overall. But I'd only really consider the bottom 3 episodes to be below average, with everything else being anywhere from great to amazing. Hopefully Season 3 will manage to strike a good balance between both approaches to finally topple the behemoth of Kino that is Season 1, and maybe even give us an episode that can beat out Charlie Goes to Hell for the ultimate top spot. Well, there's only one way to find out. I'd say Silly Samuel is a good episode. I feel it kind of takes a while to get off the ground. Our A-plot is a nice, normal, Smiling Friends job, as Pym and Charlie try to help out Samuel. I do really like the idea behind him. He's kind of got that Frank Grimes-esque feeling to him as a normal dude in an absurd world. Like, if you stop to think about it, yeah, it would suck to be a wacky-looking cartoon character with like a cuckoo clock permanently stuck to your head and a crab claw instead of a hand. His only desire is for people to take him seriously, but that's kind of hard when he looks like this. The whole joke of people laughing at him and him then crashing out over it is repeated like 5 times, which is why I'm a little mixed on this episode. since although I feel like it could have been done more creatively, or at least quicker, it is necessary to establish that to get to the superior second half. Like, I really love his final breakdown when he starts ranting about like the state of the country and microplastics and shit as everyone just laughs at him. Silly Samuel is a huge asshole, but he's a justified asshole, so it's okay. And you're happy to see him get accepted in the end. The B-plot this time is great from start to finish though, with a random building inspector coming to the Smiling Friends office, Mr. Boss giving us some lore on how it was built, and his Bob Chandler impression is really funny too.
Do you realize something? If we fail this inspection, we could lose our office and we'd have to move out of it?
No.
I also love how dead set he is on instantly killing the inspector with Allan having to hold him back. And it's just cool to see different parts of this office that we've been in for so long at this point. Especially to reveal it's held in place by a single nail that, once Glep removes, causes the whole thing to roll down the street, almost crushing a huge group at the park, with Silly Samuel warning everyone, making them think he's some kind of prophet. Finally taking him seriously and making him smile. I do have nitpicks with this one, but overall, it's a perfectly competent, good episode. Something I guess will work as a good measuring stick for the rest of the season. Anything above this will be very good, and anything under, slightly below average.
Is perfectly safe?
Fuck no, it's the worst building I've seen in my entire life, and you failed miserably. But that skeleton on the wall was funny shit. I had a good time hanging out with you guys.
Cool. So, that's it? Hello?
Oh my gosh.
Yo guys, it's me, Charlie. Hey, did that guy just turn into sand?
It's this season's Mr. Frog episode. We open with him still as the president, only after completely conquering the Earth, he becomes bored and quits. This is the conflict for him this time. Everything is simply too easy for Mr. Frog, making all of his achievements feel hollow and rendering him completely depressed. It is just funny seeing Mr. Frog of all characters be so sad, but we still get a lot of his trademark wackier moments.
But that's okay, because Charlie and I can help you. Did you want us to help you, or...?
No, yeah, I do. I was
okay.
just... yeah.
Him and Charlie try to find a challenge for Mr. Frog, only makes him even more hopeless. This then leading into Pim's awesome song about the beauty of life, making Mr. Frog realize the importance of family.
There are so many... Oh my god, dude! Dude, Pim, are you okay, man?
Family.
Pim, can you hear me?
I don't know who you are, but I think you've helped me. Thank you.
Pim, listen to me.
So then, Mr. Frog reconnects with his dad, who ends up being just this real guy covered in green body paint. And this scene is magical. The decision to have this played completely straight and emotionally with such a stupid looking character, it is unbelievably hilarious and simultaneously works with the narrative, actually making you feel a little bad for Mr. Frog. So it's then super satisfying when he finds inner peace at the end. I also love his life flashing before his eyes. There are just so many funny little Easter eggs in there. I guess I'll play them all in slow motion for the rest of this review, so you can see them all. But yeah, this is an absolutely amazing episode. It does a legitimately good job getting you invested in Mr. Frog's struggles, and I love how quickly it establishes that. Then just when it's gotten all the comedic potential out of it, we move on to him realizing he needs family, and just before that scene gets old, we move on again. It really doesn't feel like there's a single wasted second throughout this whole episode. Every single narrative and comedic beat lands, and it's a very satisfying end to the Mr. Frog character.
Goodbye.
This one's easily topping Season 3 and going very high on the overall ranking. This episode sees Charlie and Pim get captured by the Mole Man, who, after living under the office for so long, has become obsessed with Pim and Charlie, stalking them and following their wacky adventures just as we have. I really love all the little references to past episodes in the pictures of him in his cave, and the Mole Man character himself is quite a great antagonist here. It's David Firth's second role, and once again, his voice fits perfectly and does a lot to elevate the character. Him being such an obvious stand-in for the fans is also a clever idea that leads to some really great meta-comedy.
Go!
What do you mean?
Just, you know, do funny stuff, huh? Do your classic realistic dialogue with each other. Hey, yo guys, I've got a good one. What would you do if a fucking gnome just ran in here all of a sudden and started going blah, 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 blah? What would you do? What would you say? Would you just want to smash it with a hammer or what?
The running joke with him being ashamed of his penis is reasonably funny, but does become kind of overplayed, although it tying into the ending does make up for it. The B-plot this time sees Allan and Glep have to fill in, since Pim and Charlie are presumed dead. The job is basically just them babysitting these triplets. I don't know, seeing them get basically tortured the whole episode is surprisingly funny. I think it's just how fast-paced and creative everything they do to them is.
Hey, turn that off!
And it also helps it's so short, only taking up like 2 minutes of the episode, so the basic slapstick doesn't have time to get old. Eventually, as things go off the rails between them, Mole Man chasing Pim and Charlie all the way to where Allan and Glep are, and after the kid's mom returns, Mole Man accidentally reveals his elusive penis to her, only for her to like it and marry him on the spot. A great cap off to the running gag, and happy ending for the Mole Man character. This is just a nice, light, consistently funny episode. Nothing amazing by Smiling Friends standards, but definitely above average.
And I just saw it right there, and it was not as bad as I thought. It looked pretty good.
The penis? Yeah, I saw it too. Yeah, it looked good. Looked like a
because he
good
hyped
penis.
it up and said it would be horrible
Yeah.
and said it would
I
be
thought
ugly.
it looked delicious.
What's that?
I thought the penis looked delicious.
Oh boy, it's the next Halloween episode, and this more than makes up for the last seasons. This makes the whole when they're mean to Pim on Smiling Friends meme a reality, with everyone ignoring his suggestions when they want to order food for the Halloween party, which makes Pim feel like no one in the office respects him. After that, we meet the beggar witch who, after they turn away, curses them, and this is where the horror elements kick in. But this time, as opposed to the first special, which was lighter on comedy, or the second that had no real horror elements at all, this episode managed to strike a really nice balance between the two. There are some legit unnerving parts, like Charlie's face melting off, as well as super funny bits, especially with the ghost of Mr. Boss's mom.
I'm sorry, Bunny. I needed the money for my gaming PC.
And mixes of the two, like Allan turning into a spider. This is essentially one big fever dream caused by the witch, so they're free to go really crazy with all the wild gags and scares throughout the episode, even letting everyone be a little out of character, like Mr. Boss calling Pim his flashlight bitch. And of course, all this coming to a head with Pim snapping and going on a rampage killing everyone is absolutely awesome. It's so brutal, and it's definitely this season's big animation highlight. It looks great. Oh, and I love the blue janitor dude cameo. Actually, do you guys think this is supposed to be a parody of those Lost episode creepypasta? Personally, I always thought so. Like, it has all the cliches, the characters all being really mean and out of character, how it almost instantly falls into senseless over-the-top gore, and nice innocent Pim snapping and killing everyone else. Especially Mr. Boss bleeding hyper-realistic blood from his eyes. I actually have a big soft spot for especially the old cringy creepypastas, so that's another reason this episode appeals to me so much specifically. Anyway, as you can probably tell, I love this one. I think it just barely edges out the Mr. Frog episode for the top spot of season 3 so far. Also, it's nice to see Charlie apologize to Pim for being kind of rude in the opening. And the ending is really something special too.
Gotcha, you son of a bitch, skeleton.
That is really stupid. Is that supposed to be funny? Well, I don't know what was the point of that. Is this like the Brazil thing where it's gonna be like a big fake out, or is this an actual real vacation this time?
Yeah,
No. This
feels
one's for
more
real.
This feels real.
This one sees the whole Smiling Friends crew on a work trip in the forest. Pim and Charlie split up to go on a hike, Pim just to appreciate the nature, whereas Charlie is on a hunt for a cryptid Mr. Boss told him about, the brown blur. I really enjoyed the beginning with them just kind of hanging out.
If you had Smiling Friends, I would totally be like an elite spy working at like the FBI or the CIA or something, and I try to hide that side of me because I know I'm so good at it. But yeah, there's definitely like a beast within me that I keep from you because I don't want to freak you out and stuff.
Oh, okay.
and Pym getting so upset at Charlie for littering, which leads into the main plot where they come across the Mother Nature, who is dying from all the trash strewn around, which of course Pym helps her with. I don't really love Mother Nature, to be honest. The whole cutesy characters that are secretly evil and kill people is a little obvious and overdone, like South Park did this exact same thing 20 years ago. And since that's sort of the only joke here, I don't find this section particularly funny or novel. I do really like the claymation art style though, but it's not all bad, as this is a rare case where the B-plot absolutely mogs the main focus, staying back at the cabin and focusing on Mr. Boss and Allan. They have this very funny tension between them. Maybe Mr. Boss is still upset over the whole little version of him debacle from the last season, and he gets continually more upset with Allan prioritizing work emails, not appreciating the trip he set up for him. I love seeing different sides to the characters, and a little bit of conflict adds a great spice to their consistently hilarious scenes. It's a nice, simple story, and you're happy to see them make up at the end. Allan learning to relax a bit, maybe a bit too much.
Nowhere. It's free.
Delicious.
Yeah, it is.
Yeah.
This is like the 4th time they've done this joke, but it always works so well. And I also love this little gag subverting your expectations of the 2 plot points coming together, since it's been such a consistent thing throughout the series.
Oh, I hope the boss Allan and Glep swoop in and save us at the last second. Oh!
Overall though, this is definitely the weakest of this season, but it's still a perfectly fine episode, since it does still have a few amazing gags sprinkled throughout, like the whole, "Dude, you like Super Monkey Ball? Pym, bro, I knew I liked you." So it's probably going in the lower 4th of the overall list.
Of the cryptid that you showed me, the brown blur thing.
Oh, the painting. Dude, I was joking. That's a picture of the inside of my asshole. It's from a colonoscopy. I thought you knew that.
Squim Returns. This is a big step up from the last one, largely thanks to Squim himself. I absolutely love how he's animated like an old cartoon character, especially him having a drop shadow as if he's on animation cells. That's just straight up beautiful. He's filling in for Charlie since he's pretending to be sick to stay home and play Grand Strategy 4 all day, only for him to actually get sick after eating a bad kebab. His B-plot following him desperately trying to get back to the office while going through what's basically a drug trip, complete with some really cool visuals. Then all the main stuff with Pym and Squim is phenomenal as well. The Squim character feels almost like a more exaggerated version of Pym, being so overwhelmingly positive at all times. Kinda like he's his Satan parallel. It is funny at first, and it's effective on the first job, but he quickly overstays his welcome after doing the Squim dance on that guy's dead wife, becoming more so annoying for both Pym and the audience. So by the end, it's cool he dies. The way they do that is amazing too. Charlie's drug trip intensifying till he's rolling around shirtless on the street and gets held up by a bunch of police. Both plot points reaching their chaotic peak at the same time, leading to Squim getting absolutely smoked. And his ghost still doing the Squim dance only for that too to get shot is a really great gag. There's tons of other standout jokes here like Mr. Boss's Steam profile, Glep and Allan at the anime convention. Obviously the Simpsons parody is great too. Combine that with the super fun Squim character, all the amazing visuals, and you have an episode that really is Smiling Friends firing on all cylinders. For its sheer novelty, I still slightly prefer the Halloween episode, but this is easily taking the new number 2 spot. Shmaloogles fills another really standout episode. This time Pym and Charlie set out to help the Shmaloogles, who are these Smurf-like, wacky, whimsical blue guys. Pym, of course, instantly loves them, and it's so funny how Charlie tells Pym he's just not interested.
This is way more of a Pym job, man. And I think you're going to do a really good job. I know I'm not going to add anything to this.
Oh, is it just...
Yeah, it's everything. It's the look, it's the name, it's the
That's all right.
it's all of it.
I can do this on my own if you don't want to. Yeah, that's all right. That's right.
Yeah. By the way, dude, I'll go grab us lunch and just tell me what you want from Wawa.
But of course, due to the rules of comedy, after Pym gets captured by the evil wizard, Charlie's the one who has to deal with them. His personality just plays off the little critters so well. I love how pissed he gets with them, eventually riling everyone up to go stop the wizard from killing them all. The way the show chooses to show this through that workout montage where they're randomly rotoscoped super buff guys is incredible as well. Then when Pim meets the wizard and he reveals why he's killing the Shmaloogles, using their blood to treat his hair loss. I mean, I've said this like 5 times already, but this is one of the absolute funniest moments of the whole show. Him pulling out the freaking Norwood scale and his little thought experiments that actually convinces Pim.
Now, what does this guy do? Ooh,
You just
right,
put hair on him.
Still a construction worker? You wouldn't say CEO or president. You'd say laborer. Really? Come on, dude. Be honest. Come on.
I do kind of see a point, yeah.
Holy shit, it is so good. Also, the resolution just being Charlie convincing him to try minoxidil works great as well. Everything in this episode is just perfect. It has a nice, simple, but engaging story, and every scene that moves the plot forward also functions as an incredible gag. Not to mention they got D. Dante from Clerks to make a cameo. So yeah, not a single complaint. Top of the list. I'm really happy to see this season give us so many amazing episodes.
When we were storming the castle before and going up the steps, I saw you take a picture of Princess Shmaloogle from underneath her dress. I just want to say I'm really not okay with that.
What? Are you talking to me?
Yeah, I'm talking to you.
I didn't do that.
I swear I saw you behind
Wait,
us.
not only did I not do that, it's not even possible. I haven't had my phone on me all day. I forgot it at the office. Look.
Gosh, I didn't know you didn't have your phone. Maybe it was just the way your hand was moving or something. It was...
Yes.
Forget I said anything. I'm sorry.
I mean, the vibe's ruined now, dude.
I guess this is going to be our last Christmas episode. This time we focus entirely on Glep, who's been such a mystery throughout the show. In fact, the opening actually addresses this, Mr. Boss firing him after realizing he seemingly does nothing but sit on his cool beanbag all day. You do actually feel pretty bad for Glep, especially after his wife leaves and he's all alone in his big ass mansion. After this he heads to a bar where he gets ID'd and we learn he's actually thousands of years old. Well, actually that was technically established back in the President episode. If you look really close at the TV when the news doxes him, you can see his date of birth listed. So it's really cool to see they remembered that and then based this whole episode off such an easily missable one-off gag. Glep tells the bar owner his life story, the running theme here obviously being that for all his life he never had anywhere where he fit in. The first one in Rome is like, whatever, the emperor just kills himself after seeing Glep dance. The second's a bit better, with Glep's spit causing the bubonic plague. But the last one's awesome, seeing him hang out with the founding fathers who are like frat bros. And especially Thomas Jefferson sitting in like a gaming chair and pissing himself. It's great. This all leading into a major lore drop where Glep remembers and lets us see the true origins of the Smiling Friends. With Glep doing the dance to cheer up Mr. Boss after he lost everything in a market crash, which inspires him to start the business along with Glep, technically making Mr. Boss the first ever Smiling Friends client, which is just so nice and wholesome. The story caps off with everyone realizing Glep is like the glue that holds Smiling Friends together and taking him back. This episode is definitely a lot lighter on really strong comedy, but of course, the sheer brilliance of the narrator at the end more than makes up for that.
Everyone can get along with each other, except for a certain group of people. You know who I'm talking about.
Excuse me?
Yeah, this is yet another pretty damn good Season 3 episode. You know, the first time I saw this, I was a bit disappointed in it only having like a few really good jokes for me, but looking back at it, I really appreciate the slower pace compared to the rest of the season. The story of Glep finding his place in life after so long too. You know, the whole episode just leaves you with a warm, fuzzy feeling, which is perfect for a Christmas episode. And showing the origins of the Smiling Friends is so satisfying, now knowing this is going to be one of the show's last episodes, which I think makes this feel very appropriate. As I'm writing this, the final 2 episodes are airing in a few days, but as things stand, I am so happy I ended up loving Season 3 as much as I did. There's really only one episode I don't particularly like, and the top 5 are all totally amazing. There might be some nostalgia talking, but I still would say Season 1 is a bit better for now, so let's see if they can push it over the edge with these last 2, and finish Smiling Friends on its strongest season ever. Let's start with 10 and end on 9. It'll make sense later. I love the opening. Charlie's fascination for gore, like live leak videos, has been alluded to a few times, and Pim's genuine reaction is quite funny.
Oh, Charlie, why did you show me that? That's awful.
He got
That's
completely
traumatizing.
flattened. Isn't that crazy? I didn't know that could happen.
I don't want to see that. I don't. Oh, I feel sick.
Pip,
That's so bad.
dude, the reason why I showed that to you is for educational purposes. I don't get any enjoyment out of showing you that kind of stuff. Now you know to never go to a Chinese factory and put your head under a giant crushing machine and get sucked into it and become a pancake. Now you know to not do that.
Okay, I guess that's kind of true. Thank you, Charlie. Thanks for looking out for me.
Yeah.
Mr. Boss gives them the job of making Charlie's elusive uncle smile.
Oh, wow. I've always wanted to meet him after all your stories about him.
By the way, Mr. Boss, you don't have to do a funny gag every single time you give us a job.
No, I know.
He's been mentioned so many times that when this episode title was revealed, I thought it could go one of two ways. Either it's a big joke and we never actually meet him, or we do, but he totally sucks, like an Eddie's brother situation. And it's the latter, only way further. This guy, sucks. He gets Pim and Charlie to help make his last day a good one, as he apparently only has 1 day left to live. He basically drags Pim and Charlie along to a bunch of uncouth activities, like a strip club and a chicken fight arena. Only in the world of Smiling Friends, they're these basic 3D polygonal characters. All the while, Charlie's uncle is just being as gross as possible and bullying Charlie. This is my big sticking point with the episode. He's just too much of an asshole, and all the gross out stuff really overstays its welcome. At first it's okay, but eventually it just gets miserable. I really think he embodies the worst of that old Newgrounds humor, where everything is as offensive and gross as possible, and that's the joke. Usually Smiling Friends, when it veers into this style, can add more on top of that, or show enough restraint that it works as a quick, shocking gag. But here, with how extreme it is and how much it beats you over the head, it's just not funny to me. To give some positives, it's cool they got John DiMaggio to voice him, who also does Bender. His voice fits the character really well. The part with that crazy pills guy killing himself is great.
You're so smart, huh? Okay, then tell me. What the this is?
I think that's your brain, man.
Yeah, I'd put that back in your head if I was you.
You don't tell me what to do, mother...
And he does technically work as a narrative tool, I guess. All this being a test to get Charlie to stand up to him, apparently. Charlie finally snapping when he almost kills Pim. But I don't know, even that is just a very generic twist for this kind of story I've seen done a dozen different times, and far better. I do like Ellen's subplot though. This is the first female side character that doesn't look like a Bitmoji, and their flirting is actually pretty cute, which is such a contrast to the A-plot, as well as giving us a lot of great Allan lines.
Only red, the sexiest color.
Gulp, but I am red.
Oh?
Them just straight up putting the Bob Dylan trumpet guy in the show is awesome too, and the twist with it all being his returning landlord in disguise. That genuinely surprised me, and recontextualizes everything before to be even funnier. To be clear, I do like the landlord. I think he's a funny character and I love his voice, but he is just cursed to always get stuck in the worst episodes. But yeah, that's why I wanted to put this one before episode 9, so we don't have to end on a downer. Because I actually think this is the worst Smiling Friends episode by a mile. I imagine that's going to be a quite unpopular opinion, especially since it just came out. But wait for the recency bias to wear off, and I think a lot of people will also think this. That said, this is Smiling Friends, so its worst episode is relatively inoffensive by adult animation standards. You know, this doesn't hold a candle to the worst of Rick and Morty or Family Guy. I'm not watching this miserable the whole time and wanting to turn it off. There are still a few flashes of great comedy, but on my next rewatch, I could see this being the only episode I actually skip. It's kinda sad this is how the show goes out, but the very last scene is nice at least.
Look, I thought a lot about what you said the other day, and yeah, you're right, man. I'm just gonna be normal from now on. No more little jokes. Shake on it?
Yeah, sure. Hey, what is that?
I got you, Charlie. I will never stop joking around and being silly.
Alright, Friendbot. What I'm going to pretend is the real last Smiling Friends episode. In contrast to the last, this one kicks ass. After a client dies, Pim and Charlie adopt his little robot helper. He's meant to be a stand-in for like AI, which is a weirdly topical thing for Smiling Friends to touch on, but they managed to adapt it really, really well. Everyone gets obsessed with it in different ways that people usually use AI. Charlie becoming a prompter, making images of everyone as hot dogs.
I just said the most amazing idea was Pim as a hot dog, plus Allan was also a hot dog, and his cinematic lighting and...
Allan gets it to do his paperwork, and Mr. Boss uses it as a freaking sex bot. Friendbot even doing all the jobs for Pim and Charlie. I love the little scene with Pim asking him to stop, since he misses making people smile.
Pim, what if I told you that I could make everyone in the world smile?
What? You could really make everyone in the world smile? I mean smile?
Yes.
And I love Friendbot's voice. It's that same robot voice Zach does on Oni Plays. Everything with him is awesome. As time goes on, he has negative effects on the friends. Charlie becoming super fat and lazy. Allan, who was making paintings of that one girl from Twitter, like in real life, who's obsessed with Allan and has a life-sized Allan plush. That is such a deep cut. Everyone basically becoming dependent and obsessed with the robot, leading to a big fight over him breaking out, which is then broken up when Glep removes its head, revealing that it's just some Indian guy in a costume.
Alright, you bought me. I am not actually a robot. My name is Bob.
Oh my god. And it's just like, I guess some guy they got off Fiverr to record himself on his webcam. I watched these new episodes 3 times so I don't have any recency bias, and this part slays me every time. It is unbelievably goddamn funny. It having some roots in reality, his purposefully unnatural stilted voice, and it tying into Charlie getting scammed online earlier. It's amazing. This whole episode's amazing actually. There really isn't anything I can nitpick here. It's got perfect pacing and phenomenal humor. I'm glad we got to end on such a strong one.
Mr. Boss, are you okay?
Huh? Oh yeah, I knew that was a guy in a costume the entire time. I don't care about that. I'm looking at those paintings. Allan, you really did those? Wow. Can I buy one off you?
Yes, you may.
F yeah, man. I'll hit you up about that later. Awesome.
So that's season 3. We ended up finishing with one kind of mid-episode, and one I'd say is straight up bad. But on the flip side, the top 6 are all phenomenal. So compared to season 1, it's much more of a mixed bag. I think because of its lows being so much lower, I still would say season 1 is the show's best, but their best episodes are quite comparable, so it's very close. I guess it'd go season 1, then 3, then 2. Before we reveal the final rankings, I'll just say, compared to every other adult cartoon ever, this show is remarkably consistent. The bottom 2 are the only bad episodes of Smiling Friends' whole run, and anything from 20 on I consider to be really great episodes of TV that can stand with the best of even stuff like Simpsons or South Park. So without further ado, let's put everything together and rank every Smiling Friends episode ever. Starting from the bottom, Charlie's uncle dies and doesn't come back. Pim finally turns green. Allan Adventure. Who finally murdered Simon S. Salty? Pim and Charlie save Mother Nature. The boss finds love? Shrimp's Odyssey. Mr. President. Silly Samuel. Mole Man. The Smiling Friends go to Brazil. The Glepisode. Mr. Frog. Le Voyage Incroyable de Monsieur Grenouille. Squim Returns. Frowning Friends. Gwimbly Definitive Remastered Enhanced Edition DX 4K. Charlie, Pim, and Bill vs. the Alien. Curse of the Green Halloween Witch. Brother's Egg. Friendbot 1258921873180. Enchanted Forest. A Silly Halloween Special. Shmaloogles. Desmond's Big Day Out. The Magical Red Jewel, aka Tyler Gets Fired. And the number 1 best Smiling Friends episode of all time, Charlie dies and doesn't come back. Okay, I know some people are going to be like, what the hell, how could you put this episode under that one? But with a show as consistently great as Smiling Friends, every episode is someone's favorite episode. So hopefully these reviews at least let you understand why I put everything where it is. And I really hope you enjoyed this little goodbye to such a phenomenal show that was so important to me and this channel, really. So thank you so much for watching, and thank you, smiling friends.